In the seemingly endless sea of cancelled video games, there are quite a few that remain in the hearts of many. Whether it be Star Wars 1313, Prey 2, the 5th Arkham game, or Silent Hills, everyone has that one cancelled game that left a tiny hole in their little gamer hearts. For me, that game is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Patriots. Cancelled all the way back in 2014, Patriots was the precursor that eventually evolved into the highly successful Rainbow Six Siege. Despite laying the groundworks for Siege, Patriots was an immensely different game. Instead of being a strictly multiplayer asymmetrical FPS, Patriots was extremely narrative-driven and tackled exceedingly controversial topics, the likes of which are still rarely seen even today. Many are quick to forget that the Rainbow Six franchise was actually based on a book. Published back in 1998, Rainbow Six was written by Tom Clancy and follows Rainbow, a secret international counter-terrorist organization led by former Navy SEAL John Clark. Rainbow consists of 2 operational squad-sized teams of elite special forces soldiers from NATO-allied countries. The novel saw relatively positive reviews, with many complimenting its cinematic and almost Bond-like action, yet bashing it on its weak dialogue. Regardless, what many don't know was that Rainbow Six was actually developed in tandem with Clancy's video game company, Red Storm Entertainment. Releasing 2 weeks after the novel, the game, Rainbow Six, originated from early concepts Red Storm Entertainment had following the company's formation in 1996. Essentially, the company had been wanting to make a covert Black Ops game that wasn't an arcade shooter or a slow-paced strategy game. The team wanted to focus on realism and action with a strong emphasis on strategy and planning. Both the game and novel were derived from Red Storm CEO Doug Littlejohns and Clancy during a company outing. During a conversation discussing the delayed authorization of foreign counter-terrorist units deployed overseas, very casual dinner talk, Littlejohn suggested the formation of a permanent counter-terrorist unit that always had authorization to deploy internationally. This led to the idea of a team called Rainbow, named after Rainbow Nation, a term coined by Desmond Tutu in describing South Africa under Nelson Mandela's presidency. And the 6 comes from the American rank of captain, O-6. So the title of Rainbow Six is actually in reference to the protagonist, John Clark, whose call sign is actually Rainbow Six, since he's the one in charge. Rainbow Six was designed to be as realistic as possible, and that doctrine reigned true for every aspect of the game, as the team had access to technical consultants, military trainers, and counter-terrorism experts. After a few developmental hiccups, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six was eventually released with similar reviews to the book. Like the novel, the game was released to mostly positive reviews, with many praising its difficulty, multiplayer functionality, and immersive gameplay, while critiquing its console ports and plethora of bugs. Despite these few flaws, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six grew in popularity and was even nominated for Game of the Year, only to lose to a small indie game from a very tiny publisher that no one knows about. It's called Half-Life, developed by Valve. Yeah, I'm sure no one has heard of them before. Regardless, the success of the first game created a titan of a franchise in the gaming industry and birthed a whole new genre in what would eventually become known as the tactical shooter. Rainbow Six saw the creation of multiple follow-up titles, many of which received highly positive reviews. However, after the release and subsequent success of Rainbow Six Vegas 2, the Rainbow Six team wanted to mix things up a bit and try out a new concept while retaining the tenets that put the Rainbow franchise on the map in the first place. It's unknown when official development actually began on Rainbow Six Patriots. However, in a very strange turn of events, in 2011 the team dropped pre-rendered gameplay footage, with creative director David Sears appearing beforehand to say they have reason to believe that someone may leak their preliminary target gameplay footage. So instead they just dropped it themselves. According to the trailer, what we were being shown was a proof of concept build created back in 2010 of what a mission in Patriots may appear like in the final build. It opens with a terrorist group known as the True Patriots breaking into the home of some man on his birthday. They take his wife and baby hostage and strap him with a bomb vest, taking him to Times Square. Crossing a bridge, they are ambushed by the Rainbow team. We then switch to an operator, presumably the main character, who we see take down the True Patriots. The gameplay appears to be very similar to Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2, that being the first and third person hybrid. Unlike Vegas, the tech seems to have made a substantial leap, as the Rainbow operator is now able to use some kind of tech that allows him to see through cars and spot enemies, almost like detective vision in the Arkham games. During this gameplay trailer, we see many gray morality choices, which would allegedly populate the final product. After switching to the Rainbow operator and taking down a few of the true Patriots, the NYPD appear on site and start shooting at the man in the bomb vest. With no time to radio, the Rainbow team is ordered to shoot the cops. They shoot to wound and move down. Taking out another Patriot attempting to take a hostage, the operator closes a car door. This was revolutionary and was done 3 whole years before the division showcased this incredible leap in video game technology. This would have been truly remarkable. Reaching the man, the Patriots activate a remote detonator, starting a countdown. Instead of saving the man, the Rainbow operator picks him up and throws him over the side of the bridge before he detonates, ending the trailer. The following month, an official debut trailer for Rainbow Six Patriots dropped. In the trailer, we get a voiceover of a man stating they've been training and sacrificing and that they are the true Patriots. Multiple armed men then assault some bigwig, telling them that they may not answer to the government, but they will answer to them, before strapping a bomb vest to them and throwing them down to the streets of New York, detonating the vest. So, as you can clearly tell, they were not holding back any punches with this 2-pronged announcement. In a follow-up Game Informer article, Ubisoft Montreal claimed Rainbow Six Patriots is moving away from the Call of Duty Follow Me single-player shooter campaign template and moving into uncharted territory. They knew they had to raise the bar of expectation for this series. Patriots saw Rainbow up against a homegrown terrorist uprising where civilians would be caught in the crossfire. These terrorists, known as the True Patriots, hope to restore its interpretation of American values by beheading corporate America and overthrowing the government. The main question presented to Rainbow and the player would be how far are they willing to go in order to stop this new threat. David Sears would go on to state, terrorism has evolved, and so has Rainbow Six. In Rainbow Six Patriots, all the team play, tactics, and realism that the fans of the series love have been coupled with an exciting new narrative direction. This adds an unprecedented level of humanity that will make Rainbow Six Patriots an extremely tense and immersive experience. Ubisoft Montreal wanted to raise the bar of expectation for shooter narratives and force the player to think about the moral repercussions of their actions. As a way to achieve this goal, the team would be taking a new approach to the narrative by moving away from cutscenes and keeping the player always in control, with the fear that anything could happen at any moment. Wanting to channel Clancy's original novel, Patriots would continually shift from multiple perspectives, from civilian to terrorist and to Rainbow operators, so the player could experience all sides of the conflict. Sears would also state that, we wanted a real story that was contemporary, plausible, and relevant for the world we live in today. We've seen counter-terrorists fight terrorists that look very different from them. You immediately know who the bad guy is. We hope the players will ask themselves the question, could I really do this? Could I really pull the trigger on someone that is essentially just like me? Speaking on the motives of the True Patriots, narrative director Richard Rouse would say, the group is obviously inspired by a lot of different sources, but they're different than any other group that's out there right now. They're sort of anti-government, but they're kind of also anti-corporate at the same time, which people usually identify with opposite ends of the political spectrum. The world you're fighting in is America. Where the True Patriots are staging their attacks are filled with civilians that are caught in the crossfire, often, and it's unavoidable that some of them will die. How you play as Rainbow, the tactical choices you make, and how well you observe and plan before going in can affect what the civilian casualty levels are. Sears would follow this up with, our intention is to make sure that the player knows how they're performing, and how many lives have actually been affected by their actions. You absolutely could read the counter-terrorist acts as terrorism. Of course, that's not what Rainbow is doing, but at the same time, sometimes civilians are dying. With an extremely strong narrative and positive first impression among gamers, the Patriots team hunkered down and continued to work, unaware that in just 1 year, everything would change. The first, and arguably the most significant issue to strike the Patriots development team occurred in 2011. A group of ex-US Army soldiers turned domestic terrorists claimed to be partially inspired by the unreleased Rainbow Six Patriots. This group, calling themselves Forever Enduring, Always Ready, or FEAR, wonder how long it took them to come up with that acronym, consisted of current and inactive soldiers out of Fort Stewart, Georgia. According to prosecutors, FEAR's leader used a magazine article on Rainbow Six Patriots in order to recruit soldiers to his cause. Basically, he would show them the article, and if they agreed with the concept of the True Patriots, he would ask them to join FEAR. On December 4th, 2011, FEAR would eventually be caught after 3 members were charged with the murder of Michael Rorick and his girlfriend, Tiffany York. According to the soldiers, they killed the couple because they believed that the two had betrayed their plots. It was discovered that Fear spent $87,000 on stockpiling weapons, explosives, and ammunition, and was planning a variety of terrorist attacks on US soil, such as taking over Fort Stewart, bombing Forsyth Park in Savannah, bombing a dam and poisoning apple crops in Washington state, and ultimately assassinating then President Obama. The following year, Patriots did not appear at E3, and in March of 2012, it was announced that creative director David Sears, narrative director Richard Rouse, lead designer Felipe Theron, and animation director Brent George were all removed from the development team. No reason for their removal has ever been stated, yet Patriots was still tentatively scheduled to be released in 2013, despite this shakeup. Following this, next to nothing was heard regarding Patriots' development, except in 2013 when it was announced that Patriots was being reworked to launch on next-gen consoles. Then, it was subsequently removed from game listings and all pre-orders canceled. Patriots' release window came and went, and still, we heard nothing. That is, until 2014. In June of 2014, Rainbow Six's brand director told Polygon that Patriots was officially canceled, and insisted that the decision to cancel Patriots was based on the next-gen shift, not the controversy. Essentially, he said that they'd rather just cancel the game and start from scratch with a new team on a new project, rather than recreate everything they've already done for next-gen. This was a very strange decision to say the least, but again, they insisted it wasn't because of the controversy. During E3 2014, a new game was revealed: Rainbow Six Siege. This new game would be strictly multiplayer, where two teams would go up against one another in an asymmetrical arena-style game mode. One team had a hostage, and it was their job to defend them as the other team would attempt to extract them safely. This debut was definitely a slap in the face to those looking forward to Patriots' hard narrative focus. However, the gameplay from this world premiere looked to be keeping that Rainbow Six realism that fans loved, and the original creators pioneered. Rainbow Six Siege was released in 2015 to generally favorable reviews, according to Metacritic, yet was bashed due to its microtransactions. In the following years, Siege blew up in popularity, particularly in the esports scene. As the years came and went, Siege only grew. And as the game grew, so too did the developers' dedication to stick to Clancy's original vision for the franchise. That being realism above all else. No, I'm kidding.
I found myself trapped in a surreal, candy-induced dream.
Is this going to be on the Fernsehen?
Siege became a shadow of what Rainbow Six represented. While Siege is a good game in its own right, it's just not a Rainbow Six game. It almost feels as if the developers clearly wanted to make a specific type of game, but believed no one would care about their new IP. So, instead they slapped a very successful pre-existing IP on top of it in order to draw eyes, and didn't really care that it was nothing like what made the IP successful in the first place. Almost like something else that was released fairly recently. At the time of making this video, Siege is 8 years old, and the only other Rainbow Six game to be released was a zombie alien spin-off that failed horribly. It's clear that Ubisoft has given up on keeping the Rainbow Six franchise true to its original intentions. Siege is nothing more than a realistic version of Overwatch. It is a live service arena hero shooter that is constantly printing Ubisoft shitloads of money, so why would they do anything different? Rainbow Six Patriots could have been an incredibly interesting case study on domestic terrorism, what it means to be a soldier, and what it means to be an American. To this day, those questions presented by Patriots have yet to be tackled in really any game. The closest we've ever come is in a game called Ready or Not, where a faction known as the Left Behind act in a loosely similar manner to the true Patriots. But to my knowledge, that's it. We may never know if Patriots was truly cancelled due to next-gen concerns, or Ubisoft buckling under the weight of the controversy. Hopefully one day, we will get some definitive answers. And hopefully one day, Rainbow Six will return to what made the franchise profitable in the first place. Because what happened to Rainbow Six Patriots was an absolute travesty.